Hello dear friends, this is Dr. Diptesh Patel and I'll be teaching you Advanced Internal Combustion Engine. In today's video session, we are going to learn the chapter called Heat Transfer, Friction and Lubrication in IC engine, as these are the very important factor to be considered for the performance of IC engine. And for this particular video session, we are going to go through the lubrication in IC engine. What is the importance of lubrications? What are the different types of the lubrication systems are used, and what are the desirable properties of the lubricants for the IC engine? So basically, let's start with the lubrications. What is the aim of the lubrications? So basically, the aim of lubrication is to reduce the friction and wear and tear between the component of the engine. But only reductions of the friction is not important. Here, the overall aim of the lubrication system is not only limited to the reductions of the friction, but it also serve few others purpose as well. So let's go through the aim of the lubrications. The first and foremost aim of the lubrication system is to reduce the friction. Since we know that there are a lot of metal to metal contacts occurs in IC engine during the working, and therefore it is inevitable to reduce the frictions between these two metals to reduce the chances of the damage of these products, and to enhance the overall power output, and to reduce the losses. It is necessary to use the lubrications to reduce the frictions. Second one is to provide the sealing actions. Since we know that we require the sealing actions in between the combustion chamber and the piston walls, so therefore we use the small film of the lubricants which provide the sealing actions, and it does not allow to escape the flue gases or the mixture of air and fuels into the crankcase. Third thing is it provides the cooling effect, right? Since we know that the lubrications continuously flow throughout the engine, so it takes away certain amounts of the heat from the surfaces, and it ultimately provide the cooling effect into the lubrication into the engine as well. And the fourth one is it cleans the surfaces. Since we know that the flowing of oils in different parts of the engine can also take away the foreign particles which are sticks or cling on the surfaces of these metal components, and it takes these foreign particles into the sump where it can be filtered out with the help of oil filter. So this is the overall aim of the lubrication system. Now we are using a lot of different types of the oils for the different purposes. It depends on like the surrounding atmosphere. It depends on the size of the engine. So the overall aim or overall requirement of the lubricating oil is same. So here we are going to see what are the different desirable properties of lubricating oils. So first desirable properties of lubricating oil is viscosity. It is it is expected that the oil should not be have a high viscosity, or it should not have a low viscosity, because if the viscosity is very high, then it would create the viscous drug that ultimately enhance the losses. And if the viscosity is too low, then there would be a chances of metal to metal contact, and we cannot provide the proper film of lubrications between two rubbing surfaces. So therefore it is inevitable that the viscosity of the lubricating oils should be perfect, right? It should not be too high, too low, right? It should be perfect, so we can have the proper lubrications in between the components. Also, the viscosity is also change with respect to temperature. Since we know that engine is having a lot of high temperatures due to the combustion process inside the engines, and therefore with an increase in the temperature, the viscosity will also drop down. So we have to choose the oil in the right amount of viscosity which would not change its characteristics along with the temperature as well. Second important properties is a pour point. Now pour point is the one when the lubricating oil would stop flowing. Right? So like in certain regions, like certain regions in North India or maybe in Western countries, the temperature falls down, especially at the night times, and in that particular regions there is a chances that the lubricating oils may get freezed, right? And in that case the overall viscosity of the lubricating oil would be increased, and therefore the viscous drag would also increase. So pour point of the lubricating oil should be as low as possible. It does not get freezed in low temperature as well. Third thing is flash point and fire point. Flash point is the one when lubricating oil catch the fire, and fire point is the one when lubricating oil would continue burn. So these both should be as high as possible. Since we know that the temperature into the engine is very high, therefore our lubricating oil should not get start combusted into the engine. Otherwise it would create a lot of problems. It would create the emission as well, a lot of emissions of the carbon as well, and that ultimately lead to the reduction in the performance and also the lot of emissions into the atmosphere. So both flash point and the fire point should be high. Then oiliness. Lubricant should have characteristics to cling with the metallic surfaces. It should provide the proper oiliness on the components. Fifth one is the oxidation stability. Right? Lubricating oil may have the characteristics of the carbons, and there is a chances that it create the oxidation effect. So it should be stable. It should be stable. The oxidation ability should be stable. So there won't be a chances of the corrosions and all these things. Then acidity and neutralizations. Lubricating oil should be neutral. It should not have any acidic nature at all. It has to be neutral to reduce the chances of the corrosions and other problems as well. And the last one is the cleanliness. It should be clean. It should not contain any water particles. It should not contain any foreign particles. Otherwise, they may create the moisture into the oil as well, and that ultimately reduce the overall performance of the engine. So these are the seventh important properties of the lubricating oils that we should expect before using into the IC engine. Now we are going to see the different types of the lubricating system. Now according to the applications, according to the size of the engine, we use the different types of the lubrication systems, and some of them we are going to see here. So it's basically divided in three categories: mist lubrication system, wet sump lubrication system, and dry sump lubrication system. Now mist lubrication system is the one which was very popular in two-stroke engine. Like two-stroke engines are nowadays absolutely vanished because the limited uses and higher losses. But mist lubrications was very popular in a two-stroke engine, in which the oil is mixed along with the petrols, and it would be allowed to entered into the fuel tanks, through which it goes to the carburetor and then into the combustion chamber, where the oil get burns, while the lubricating oil would have a higher flash point and fire point, so it would not easily burn, but it provide the lubricating effect into the engine. But this is not popular nowadays. But remaining two, wet sump lubrication system and dry sump lubrication systems, are widely used nowadays in modern automobile vehicles. So let's go through like some of these one by one. First one is a splash lubrication system. Now splash lubrication system is used in a small cars because like it provide the low pressure lubricating oil to the different components. Here you can see it has a oil sump in which the oil is filled, in which the lubricating oil will be filled. Now through these oil sump, we use the oil pump which supply the oil through the strainer. The function of strainer is to remove the foreign particles or to trap the foreign particles from the oil. So the oil would flow through the strainer to the scoops. Now scoops are the place where the oil would be stored, which is also known as the oil troughs. Now, the oil troughs would store the oils. Now, as you can see, all the pistons which are ultimately attached with the connecting rods, which has a scoop at the other end. Now, that scoops would go through these oil troughs and take away the fluid oil particles along with it, and that splash into the different components of the engine. So basically we do not supply any pressurized oil to the component, but instead of that, the scoop, which would be the part of the connecting rod that takes away the oil from the oil troughs, and it would splash these oil into the different parts of the engine, and this is how the lubrications takes place. So it provides the lubrications to the piston and connecting rod, then main bearings, crankshaft, and also we use the pressure gauge to maintain the pressure, of the oil which is being supplied into the oil troughs. Now from these components, after the lubrications from these component, ultimately oil drip down back to the troughs and the oil sump, where it is taken back again with the help of pump to the oil troughs. So this is how the splash lubrication system works, in which the oil is supplied with the help of splash of the scoop. And second one is a pressure lubrication system. Now in pressure lubrication system, we supply the oil with the help of certain amount of pressure. And here we have the jackets, small drilled oil passages through which the oil is supplied to the different components. So you can see the oil is filled into the sump, which is also known as the crankcase or oil sump, and from where the oil is being taken with the help of the oil pump through the strainer and filter, and then it's supplied to the different component such as the gudgeon pin, then the main bearing, crankshaft, pistons, and the cylinder walls. So the overall supplementary of the oil occurs with the help of certain amount of pressure. So as compared to the splash lubrication system, that is yeah, even more beneficial. However, we required the efficient oil pump which would supply the fuel with the certain amount of the pressures, and here the oil is supplied with the help of at approximately 2 to 3 bar pressure to the different components of the engine. Third one, as you can see, this is a wet sump lubrication system. Now these one is very popular for the larger vehicles, especially buses, trucks, and even the modern cars as well. Here the oil is supplied with the help of pressure through the oil sump. So you can see the oil is filled, the oil would remain into the wet sump or the sump of the engine or the crankcase of the engine, through which the oil is being taken through the strainer, and then it would be supplied to the different component of the engine. Also we have the pressure relief valve or the pressure regulator, which would maintain the pressure of the oil which is supplied to the different components. If the oil inside the line would increase, then in that case the relief valve will get open and it supply the excessive amount of the oil back to the sump. Also you can see that the certain amount of oil would be supplied to the bearings or the different components of the engine, while remaining would goes to the filter. So that the amount of the oil which go to the filter, they get through the filter and it gets clean, and then it come back to the oil sump. So basically the filter is not provided on the way of the oil to the different component, but it is provided into the bypass manner. So that's why this system is also known as the bypass lubrication system as well, because in certain cases the oil filter may get clogged, and in that case the supply of the oil would be may not be good enough, and in that case the chances of damaging the component or the parts occurs into the engine, and therefore the filter is provided in the bypass line instead of main line. So this is the wet sump lubrication system, and the last one that we are going to see is known as the dry sump lubrication system. In dry sump lubrication system, most of the oil would be remain into the supply tank, which is also known as the reservoir tank. So these sump would remain most of the time would be remain in dry manners, and that's why it is known as the dry sump lubrication system. So basically, whatever the oil that would remain into the sump would be taken with the help of scavenging pump here. So the scavenging pump take the oil through the strainer and the filter, and it supply the oil into the supply tank. Now this is what the aim of the scavenging pump, just to take the oil from the sump and then it supplies to the supply tank. Also the pressure relief valve is provided. If in case of the oil pressure, if the oil pressure is higher than the desired one, then in that case the relief valve will get open, and that would allow the excessive oil back to the sump or back to the main line. Then after, this oil would be supplied to the different components through the oil pump, which is shown at the upper side. So you can see it use the two different pump. The first one is called the scavenging pump, which only supply the oil from the sump to the supply tank, and the second oil pump supply the oil from supply tank to the different component of the engine. And here the pressure valve is also provided into the secondary line, where if the pressure gets high, then in that case the relief valve will allow the excessive pressure to or excessive oil to get back into the secondary line. So basically we use the oil sump, which supply the oil from the supply tank to the different components of the engine. And also one more thing, which is known as the oil cooler. So oil cooler is also been placed here in secondary line, and that would cool down the temperature of the oil, because as we have discussed that the temperature has the adversely effect on the properties of the oil. So that's why it use the oil cooler in the lubrication system. Now dry sump lubrication system is very popular in sports car, military vehicles, or the vehicles which has the lower ground clearance, because it does not require the large sump, because the sump would remain dry in most of the time, and whatever the oil which is been supplied into the different components of the engine would drip down back into the sump, and that oil is taken back again with the help of scavenging pump to the supply tank. So this is how the dry sump lubrication system works. Right. So this is all at the moment. If you have any doubt regarding the lubrications of the IC engine, then you can write down in the comment box. Thank you very much.